Before we go into today's story, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe right now, because every week we bring you real-life stories that will shift your mindset. Stories about ordinary people who chose themselves when nobody else did. Now, let us get into it. Imagine waking up before the sun every single morning, not because you love it, but because a little girl is sleeping in the next room and she is counting on you. That was Albert Adel, 37 years old, taxi driver, father, a dreamer who had almost forgotten how to dream. He lived in Valley Center, a small, quiet village tucked in the hills just outside San Diego, California, where the mornings smelled like dry grass and eucalyptus, where everybody knew your name, where life moved slow, sometimes too slow. Albert had been driving the same roads for 9 years, same turns, same stop signs, same tired faces in his back seat, going somewhere he was never going. Every night after his last ride, he would park his yellow taxi on Lilac Road, turn off the engine, and just sit in the dark. Not sleeping, not planning, just existing. And if you looked at his face in those quiet moments, you would see something with no name, not sadness, not anger, something closer to a man who had slowly stopped believing his life could be different. If stories like this speak to you, please subscribe to this channel. It is free, and it might be exactly what you need today. Now here's what most people never understood about Albert. He was not lazy, not even close. He woke up at 4:45 every morning, worked 13 hours a day, never missed his daughter's school pickup, sent money to his mother every month without fail. By every measure, Albert was a hard-working man. But hard-working and fulfilled, those are two very different things. Because Albert had a dream quietly suffocating inside him. He wanted to build a small transport business. Nothing big, just something with his name on it, something he owned. But every time he tried to take one step forward, he froze. Too tired, too busy, too late, too small. He had bought a dark blue notebook from a shop in Valley Center 9 months earlier. He told himself his plan would live inside it. You know what was written in that notebook after 9 months? 6 words. One day I will do this. 6 words, and empty pages after that. Because Albert had fallen into the most dangerous trap a person can fall into. Not failure, not bad luck. The trap of waiting to feel ready before starting. On a cool Wednesday evening, Albert picked up a passenger outside the Valley Center Community Store on Colgrade Road. Old man, maybe 70, quiet but sharp, faded green jacket, small paper bag in his hand. He got in, gave the address, said nothing. 10 minutes of silence passed. Then the old man spoke. "You look like a man carrying something heavy." Albert laughed softly. "Just a long day, sir." The old man looked out the window at the hills rolling past and said quietly, "I used to watch the river near my father's land. It was not powerful, not fast, but it moved every single day. Even as a thin trickle in the dry season, it never stopped. And over time, that quiet little river carved through solid rock." He paused. Then he looked at Albert through the rearview mirror. The rock did not break because the river was strong. It broke because the river was consistent. 1% every day. That is the charm, son. Most people are waiting to feel like the ocean, but all you ever needed to be was that quiet little river. At the door, he stopped and said one last thing. Whatever you are waiting to start, the waiting is costing you more than the starting ever will. Then he walked away. Albert sat in his taxi long after the old man left, engine still running, not moving. He opened his glove box, took out that dark blue notebook, stared at those 6 empty words. Then he turned to a fresh page and wrote one sentence. "Tomorrow morning, I will spend 15 minutes learning one thing that moves me forward." That was it. He drove home, and for the first time in months, he slept without that heavy feeling on his chest. Next morning, 5:10 a.m., Valley Center dark and still. He made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and spent 15 minutes watching one video about starting a small transport business in California. Just 15 minutes. His daughter was still sleeping. The house was quiet. The coffee was warm. And something shifted inside him. Small, but real. He felt like himself again.
Discipline is not a personality. It is not something given to certain people and denied to others. It is a decision made in the smallest moments, when nobody is watching, when your body says rest and your mind says tomorrow. That 1% you give on your worst days, that quiet, invisible effort, that is not small. That is everything. Because that 1% every day becomes the person you were always meant to be. Albert did not quit his job. He did not transform overnight. He just protected his 15 minutes every morning like it was sacred. Some days he only had 10 minutes. Some exhausted nights he did just 5. But he never did 0. That was his only rule. No matter what, never 0. He learned about transport licensing. He studied insurance requirements. He made a simple free business page. He printed 10 flyers and left them at local businesses on Valley Center Road. Small steps, slow progress, but it was real. 4 months later, Albert got a phone call. A small agricultural company in Valley Center needed a dedicated driver for weekly runs across San Diego County. They had seen his flyer. They wanted to meet. He was parked on Coal Grade Road when the call came, almost the exact spot where he had picked up the old man. He hung up, and he could not breathe. It was not a fortune. It was not an empire. But it was his name, his work, his first contract. He pressed his forehead against the steering wheel, and he cried, not from sadness, from relief, from finally proving something to himself he had stopped believing was possible. That evening, his daughter looked at him across the dinner table and said, "Daddy, you look different. You look happy." He smiled and said, "I remembered something today, baby." She asked what. He said, "That I am still someone who tries." And she smiled, the way only a child can, like that was the most obvious thing in the world. Albert still drives sometimes, but now he drives differently, sits differently, breathes differently, because he knows something that cannot be taken from him. The life you want does not start when everything is perfect. It starts the moment you decide that one small step today is worth more than 1,000 plans that never leave your head. That quiet river never asked for permission to move. It just moved, and over time, it changed the shape of everything around it. If this story reminded you of something you have been putting off, this channel was made for you. Subscribe right now. Join a community of people choosing themselves every single day, one story at a time, 1% at a time. If this moved you, like this video right now, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe so you never miss a story that could change your life. Albert's River started on a quiet Wednesday evening in Valley Center. Yours can start right now, not tomorrow.